Hi, welcome to Sagacity, our YouTube channel, which is dedicated towards giving information that will help you in your personal life. Today, we are doing a discussion forum for young people who are asking questions that you would like the answers for. So our question for today is, I am struggling with situations, temptation, doubt. Does God still want to have a relationship with me? And the short answer to that is yes. Of course, God still wants to have a relationship with you. That was the reason why Jesus gave his life on the cross for us. He dedicated his life to die for us just so that we can have relationship with him. He wanted to commune with us, and he wanted to separate every veil. He wanted to take away all that separation between us and God, and he wanted us to have the ability to come directly to him as a friend, to be able to explain to him what is happening with us so that we can be part and parcel of each other's life. Right? So our relationship with God is absolutely important, and everything that we do, we need to recognize that God is a God who has standards, and yes, he likes us to do things in certain ways, and he also understands that we will make mistakes and we may do things that are wrong, but at the same time, he still has unconditional love for us. And that unconditional love literally means that he gives us love with no conditions attached to it, which means that it doesn't matter what you do, God can still love you. He loved us while we were yet sinners. That is what the Bible tells us. So if God can love you while you are yet a sinner, then we need to understand that even though we make mistakes, even though we fail and we falter, even though sometimes we might have doubts, even though we are going through difficult situations, we need to understand that God will still be there for us in spite of everything that is happening. Now, what we need to know is that although God is still there for us, we don't take that for granted. It's just like a normal friendship. You don't want to have certain boundaries and your friends keep breaking those boundaries deliberately, and then they come back and they tell you they're sorry, and at the same time they keep repeating the same mistake. Now, if they are genuinely making errors, you will understand that they are trying their very best and they're making an error, so you will be able to forgive them in a case like that. However, if you realize they're making no attempts at actually changing, they're making no efforts to keep your boundaries, that is when you realize that something is wrong with this relationship. So we need to recognize too that God operates in that same way, where he expects us, if we love him, we will obey him, and that's how he clearly states it in the Bible. If we love him, we will obey him. And if it is that you don't obey God and you are being disobedient to God on a consistent basis, now he said to forgive 70 times 7, but if you consistently choose to have the wrong motive and you consistently choose, because God searches the heart, right? And if God could search your heart and he could see you are deliberately doing the wrong thing on a consistent basis, he does have it in his word where he says he will give you over to a depraved mind. So we need to understand that it's not okay for us to keep sinning. It's not okay for us to keep breaking God's law. It's not okay for us to keep disobeying. Whenever God tells us to do something, we deliberately ignore what God is telling us to do. We need to recognize that we have to come to this position and this place where we are right in our thinking, when we have the right motives, understanding that yes, we might be struggling, yes, we might be having difficulties, but in spite of what we are going through, we are trying with our innermost being, with the right motives, with the right heart, we are trying to do the right thing. Now, this brings me to another point. Sometimes we may be trying so hard to do the right thing, and no matter how hard we try, we realize that we are failing consistently, and we come to that kind of point sometimes where we are saying, oh gosh, does it even make sense for me to apologize to God? Does it even make sense for me to say, God, I'm sorry? Because I know that although I'm trying my hardest, I'm not able to keep my end of the bargain. I'm still going to sin tomorrow again, and I am trying my utmost best. Now, when you reach a position like that, I want you to recognize that it's not you. I want you to recognize that when you are trying your very best to do something and the opposite keeps happening, you keep sinning in spite of all your efforts, I want you to recognize that that is a demonic spirit in play. Now, when we have demonic spirits in play, you recognize it in the sense that demonic spirits causes us to feel forced to do something, and it's completely against our will. So whenever you have a will and you are choosing something different, but yet your body consistently keeps doing this wrong thing, you need to recognize that that is a demonic spirit. And what do you do when you recognize it's a demonic spirit that is causing me to consistently be sinning against God? And I'm trying my best, yes, to serve God. I'm trying to do the right thing, but yet I keep doing the wrong thing. Recognize that is a demonic spirit and begin to tell that demonic spirit to leave you alone. Now, the Bible tells us, resist the devil and he will flee. If you resist the devil, that's all it takes, resisting the devil. So, yes, the demonic spirits might come and be in your mind and be giving you those temptations on a consistent basis. And one thought comes and you reject that thought. And then another thought comes and then you reject that. And then another one comes and you keep rejecting it. As long as you are consistent with your rejections and you are consistently you're resisting, then once you put up that resistance, the devil will flee. All right, so it's a matter of you being persistent and you showing that resistance against whatever it is. And once you have that resistance, the devil will flee. Now, what makes it even easier is if you choose to tell that demonic spirit to leave you alone. We all have the ability to rebuke demonic spirits because God gave all of us as human beings dominion over the face of the earth. Now, when you have dominion over the face of the earth as a human being, now notice I didn't say as a Christian, which is something that is taught in a lot of churches today, that you have to be a Christian to rebuke a demon. No. You have the ability from the time God created human beings, right? He gave us the ability to have dominion over the face of the earth. And we have command over the things that are here. So demonic spirits that are here on the earth, we have command over them. Therefore, we can tell them to leave and they have to leave. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not, whether you believe in God or not. Makes no difference. You still have dominion over demonic spirits and you can resist them and you can tell them to flee. You can tell them to leave you alone. So all you have to do is to say, I denounce you. And you put up that resistance. You tell that spirit, whatever spirit it is, whether it be the spirit of pornography, you say, I resist you, spirit of pornography, or I denounce you from my life, spirit of the pornography. If it's masturbation, if it is adultery, if it is lying, if it is cheating, if it's stealing, if it's addiction to drugs, doesn't matter what it is, you have the ability to cause that demonic spirit to leave your life and to leave you alone. You just need to tell it, I denounce you, or I reject you. I reject you completely from my life. And you make that stance. Once you make that stance, you are able to have your own choices. We all have choices. We could choose to do the right or the wrong things. But in the same way, we could also choose to keep demonic spirits in our life, and we could also choose to reject them. Just like how we could choose God in our life, or we could also reject God. So this is what I have to say to you today. It doesn't matter what you're going through, what situation, what trial, whatever doubts that you might be having. remember, no matter what situation you are in, God still wants to have a relationship with you. And you have to make the right choices. You have to put up the resistance against spirits. You have to do the extra work in order for you to have that relationship on a closer basis with the Lord. So that's our session for today. I hope to see you again on Sagacity.